Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Jose Piedrahita. I am the president of the board of directors of a holding company in Colombia called Equitel. I'm very excited to be here in this masterclass with leading peers. I'm very honored to have such a great audience. Today, I'm going to talk about something extremely important. I'm going to talk about culture, company culture, because I very strongly believe that the culture in a company is the strategy. And this started very long ago. As I went to study economics at the University of Louisiana, it was a very interesting time, a time to find myself and time to understand what my strengths were. And I did. And after studying economics and finishing my last semester, I had a class that was very important to me. The class was economic policy, and it was given by a professor. It's called Ed Cardine. Ed Cardine was a PhD from Harvard and a very interesting person, and his class was very famous. 40 people were in the class, and 85% Americans, and let's say 15% foreigners. And it was about the case. We studied cases of companies, the companies of the time. And it was very interesting because when I saw the briefs and I studied that and I went into my discussions, I listened how Americans will talk so much about the importance of sales and profits and the price of the stock and making a lot of money, but they did not talk about the people in the company, and neither did the briefs. So I raised my hands and started very passionate discussing about it. And I said, I understand everything. I understand that companies, they have to make money and they have to live. And also the stock price is important, but people are more important. People in my belief have to be the center of any company. And I don't see them in this brief. I don't see them anywhere. So there were very strong discussions. And as I look in the corner of my eyes, I used to see Dr. Cardine smiling. I really don't know if he was smiling because of my accent or if he was smiling because how passionate I was about the subject. So I had the first exam and I couldn't put in the paper in that essay what I was thinking, because it was hard for me to write in English at that time. But in my final exam, the professor, as I continue my arguments and my passionate arguments about my concepts, he gave us all the exams, the final exams, and then he came to my desk. He took my exam, he shook my hand, and he said, Mr. Piedrahita, you can leave the room now. It was a great pleasure to have you in my class. That was extremely shocking. I admired Professor Cardine a lot, but just the concept of fighting for my beliefs, fighting for something that was very important to me, and get that concept from a professor that I admired so much was a very key thing in my life. And that's how I went back to Colombia. And as I was in Colombia, I wanted to work with my father's company, and he wanted me to do it as well. But I had a condition from him. I said that if I work with you, I have only one condition. I need to create companies for myself because I'm an entrepreneur by nature. So I have to do it. So he said, yeah, you can do it. 3 years later, I had 3 companies already, but I fell in love with my father's company. And I started doing a lot of experiments in that company, all related to my discussions with Dr. Cardine's class. And it was trying to make sense of that belief that was so strong and that I was so eager to defend on a classroom, and I wanted to take it in real time. So those were very interesting moments because I challenged our leaders of the company to do what they did different. And instead of selling products or services or technologies that we had, and we represent very important American companies, I said, let's go ahead and let's try, instead of doing that, let's try to create strong relationships, relevant relationships, something that transcends in time and will make us partners of our customers, not just suppliers. And we changed the language and we changed the way we did things. And as I did it with the different departments and the different customers, we started to receive reactions that were very positive. And then we kept on working and kept on building around that. So 10 years after I was working with my father, I proposed to him a very aggressive thing. I asked him, said that I really have to take a decision. I need to go work with my companies or build my companies up and grow them, or I can remain with yours, which I love. But I have three conditions. My first condition is that you need to quit. You need to stop being the general manager and start being the owner as you are. And the second one is I need full autonomy in my decisions. I need to take important decisions, and I need them to be strong, and I need to keep the respect of all the people in the company. And the third one is I need you to leave the country for 40 days. That was very strange for him. He said, why 40 days? Because in 40 days, you're going to come into a different company. He said, I don't get it. You're telling me you're able to change this company in 40 days? He said, no. I have been changing it for a while. My experiments have been working very well, and I know what to do. So he thought it over, and 3 weeks later, he came back to me and he said, you know what? Let's do it. That was amazing. And I never thought he was going to go that way, but it was excellent. So I asked him then, if you agree with this, when I ask you to call everybody, and tomorrow you go negotiate with the travel agency your 40 days. So he called everybody, and he told them the new general manager is Juan Jose, and I'm going to leave the company. And I'm just going to come back and act as the owner and president of the board of directors. So the next day, I got everybody together. And as I got everybody together, I make a very huge announcement. And get this is 1995. In 1995, I talk about a culture. I told them, as of today, we're not going to have a company anymore. We're going to have a culture. And I said that we broke really the status quo is because this culture that we call Vida is a culture that differentiates us, has two main purposes. The first main purpose is people, persons. We stopped selling products and we started to develop people. And that was our main purpose. So we're no longer going to have employees as a resource. We're going to have people as purpose. And the second one was the methodology. And that methodology had as a goal to build a relationship, a relevant relationship with our customers. And the third one was people acting and applying the method will give us the strategy. So let's go about the people and understand this. And when we talk about the people, we talk about three things. The fundamental, when we talk about people, is the development of our team members. And notice that I said team members. I don't say employees, because we also decided not to employ anyone. We decided to develop everyone in our company. And that was a key promise, and that was something that was extremely important because it was our main number one purpose. So a lot of people started to change their attitude. Not everybody made it. We had about 5 out of 40 people out, but the 35 that remained really put everything in this concept. And everybody who started coming in the company, well, was people with the right attitude. So how this operates in the market is important. So we don't see the company and the customers. We see our company as part of a supply chain, as part of an environment that exists. And we have suppliers, we have our company. Our company has the team members, we also have customers. And those customers, they have other customers or they have purposes. So we, understanding that, we started to do the first phase. First phase is how to develop our people, how to develop our team members. So the way we did this was taking 3 actions, 3 phases. The first one is being honest with our beliefs. And being honest with our beliefs was everything related with that, what I defended in Dr. Carradine's class. So we we talk about people very much, and the first thing we did is talk about values. Values is us as a team, the company, what we reflect, what we are, what we value. And we have 9 different values, and we created those values on time, and we created those values with the participation of every member in the company. And the second thing was the person itself, the development of each member in the company. So we used a very important program, which is the Gallup program. The Gallup test is, after 2.5 million interviews, Gallup encountered that there are 34 possible talents on one person. However, only five will represent us. Five will decide who we are, will say what we are and we're made of. So those 5 are critical. So there are 3 things that are very important to understand when we talk about talents. First one's the development of my own talents, which is very important because the talent is just a toolbox, and the toolbox that help us find our strengths. So if we develop our talents, our 5 talents, then we will find our strengths. And then we also recognize our weaknesses, which is important. The second thing is that we start honoring other people's talents in the team. And that is critical, because then we embrace the differences. We start to honor those differences and understand that we are all different in the company. So that means that we recognize as a third thing that other people have their strengths where I have my weaknesses. If I recognize that with humbleness and everybody does it, then we start building teams. And that's what we did. We started to understand everybody's strengths and join with using and putting the strengths of everyone in the service of the team. And we created very big things. It was extremely important. Then came the actions. The first action was training. Knowledge is extremely important because you cannot do anything if you have the right talents and you are acting from your strengths, but you don't know what you're doing. The training and the knowledge is critical. So when you have the right talents at your service and you find your strengths and then you apply the knowledge, then doing and executing what you have to do is great. That means you can grow, because in this concept, we're not talking about getting the company rich or getting the partners rich or the stockholders rich. We're talking about abundance. In abundance, everybody gets rich. The integrants grow, the company grows, our suppliers grow, and our customers grow. So it's a concept of abundance. When we understand that, then we manage to grow the environment as well. And the 14 in the actions is the well-being. It's how we talk to each other. It's how we organize our offices. It's how we organize our environments, how we place and the layouts, etc. And also how we talk to each other and how we treat each other. So if you take those 4 elements, the person, the knowledge, the growth, and the well-being, then you have the right equations for the culture. And then you have 2 consequences that are fantastic. First one is family. Because when you are in the process like this and you are involved in a company like this, then everything about staying there is great. We have a saying in our company that if we find anybody working, it's fired. And actually, we have a book about that, and it's called like that. So the consequence also are when you come into your family and you're talking about your development and you're talking about everything important about you and how you connect with your company members and your team members and with everybody and your customers and your suppliers, then everything becomes exciting. And then the conversations at the office also become the conversations at the table. And this is also a great key for happiness. So this is like the first part. This is what we talk about team development, how you develop every team member on your company. So let's talk about the second purpose of our company. And the second purpose of our culture is method, the methodology. We have a methodology in order to build relevant relationships with the environment. But let's talk how we do it with the customer. When we relate this methodology to a customer, the first thing is we focus on the customer success. We don't focus on our success. Our success is a consequence. Our money and the money we make are a consequence. That's part of my argument. When I argue very strongly with the Americans, I said the problem with your methodology is that for you, money is the goal. Money is the focus, is the key. In our case and in our culture, money is a consequence. Success is a consequence. We focus on how to make customer success. And the methodology we use is simple, and this is something that we created in time. And the first thing is the culture is called vida, which means life. It's a beautiful word, but it's also a word that means a lot. The V of vida is about visualizing. Visualizing means when you're going to do business with the company, you have to understand the language of that company, the language of the person you're dealing with. You have to understand not only what they do and how they do it, but you also have to understand what matters to them, what is important, how is the culture, how do they relate to the environment, how do they relate to their suppliers and to their customers. And when you understand that, then you end up being able to speak their language. When you manage to speak the language of your customer, when you relate to them, then the conversation becomes very smart because you manage to connect. People do not want to know anything about our company. They don't want to understand. Customers, they don't care about our company. They care about theirs. The language that is important to them is theirs, not ours. So if you manage to speak it, then you create that moment of inspiration. It's that moment where you connect. And connecting is very special because when you manage to connect, then a lot of information flows back and forth. And that allows you to develop an excellent relationship. That's when you're talking and you have more information that you wish for, and then you can create a better offer, build a better relationship, and really build a relevant relationship. When you do that, and when you put the customer in that position, then the expectations are higher. That means when you act, you have to do it right. When you execute, you have to do what you promise. Because if you manage to do that, then you no longer have a satisfied customer. Satisfied customers will leave very quick. They will leave with price, they will leave with quality, delivery, whatever. You will have a delighted customer. And a delighted customer is like a fan. That customer will remain there. He wants to do business with you. And the way this works in the same supply chain, in the same chains that we talked before in the environment, is simple. Your company, when you're focusing on your customer, do not focus on their budget. Because when companies and salespeople focus on the budget of the customer, what they do is they try to sell their company to that customer. And they hate that. And they also love it because when you talk too much about your company, what a good buyer will tell you, your company is very nice, congratulations, but I have another 4 competitors that are telling me the same about their companies. So they send you to what we call hell, the way to hell. And hell is the Excel sheet. When they send you to Excel sheet, there's no longer going to be a relationship. There is not going to be a relevant nothing. It's going to be a transactional relationship based on price. However, if instead of focusing on that budget, you focus on the purpose of your customer, and then you understand your language, and then you understand how you can put your knowledge and your services and your products and your technology to the service of their success, then that language, they will read different. They will read it in a very special way. And that relationship, that conversation will be a value conversation, something that creates value. They will recognize value. And value is a perception thing. That means value will never fit on an Excel sheet. That means you have to choose between going into a transactional relationship, very price oriented, or you can go into a value relationship where your customer understands that he is important to you and his success is important to you, that you can commit with their purpose. So as we finish this, we understand that we have the strategy. So the strategy is simple. It's two words, and they're in the method. And there are connect and delight. And why are in the method? The method is what the people apply, that the persons in the company apply. That is why it is so important to develop your team members. So they become their best versions. When they apply the method, then the strategy comes in. And you have to make it simple, because a good business deal, a good operation is one that you are able to put and explain on a napkin. Well, this culture can be explained on a napkin. Everything that is in this napkin, I have said to you today. So understand this and understand the very essence of this comes from my experience in the US, in Louisiana, and my experience with Dr. Carradine, because I do believe that another company is possible. And if we make it possible, we understand that another world is possible, because companies have to focus on people as purpose, not people as resource. Thank you for your time. And if you ever need something from me, I will be more than glad to interact and to tell you a little more about this experience of 30 years. Thank you very much.